Welcome to How to Use the Weekly Schedule tutorial Part 2. It's time to find your weekly activities. At the beginning of each week, typically Monday, you should log into D2L and review the week's activities. You will find links to these across the top of the weekly schedule, those little blue tabs. Let's get started and take a look at week 1. You will always see the table of contents across the top of every page, with quick links to all of the info on this page. Or you can simply scroll down to find it. I will always start each week by identifying which module and lesson we are covering and provide a synopsis or a summary of the lesson. If you aren't sure which week we are in, be sure to check the weekly announcement in D2L. Next, you'll see the activities. When you find yourself asking, what should I be working on? This is where you find the answer to that question. These are the activities, some recommended and some optional, that you should be completing. Keep in mind, you are generally expected to read a chapter a week, with the only exception being in weeks 1 and 2, where I have expanded one chapter over 2 weeks. If you have decided to participate in the discussion of the week, you'll also see its instructions under the activities list. But remember, you are only required to participate in one discussion for each module, so pick the one that's most interesting to you. We've made it to the simulations, tutorials, and worksheets. I have created and handpicked these supplemental materials to help you, and hopefully, after completing part 1 of this tutorial, you understand how important and valuable they will really be. I can't overemphasize their importance in the learning process. However, I do want to remind you that these resources are optional, unless otherwise stated in the instructions for the module discussions. I want to talk briefly about the tutorials. First, they can be viewed in this webpage, on your Android SlideShare app, or you can click on the URL above the tutorial, which will take you to the SlideShare website to be viewed. When viewing the tutorial, you can click on the full screen icon and view them in full screen. I've also provided you with a text version of these tutorials if you don't want to use the presentation viewer. The idea behind these tutorials is to help you to master those objectives that are more difficult. It's also a good indication that the information on these tutorials is really important, so take advantage of them and complete them. As you click your way through the tutorial, you'll see that there are prompts. Follow those prompts. If there's a hyperlink, click on it. If it asks you a question, answer it. If it tells you to get a snack from the refrigerator, well, it won't do that, but certainly if it gives any sort of instruction, it's a good idea to follow it. Much like the weekly schedule, it may take you a few attempts to get used to how these tutorials are designed, so don't give up. Keep at them until you figure them out. And that's pretty much it. At the beginning of each week, you should log in to check out the weekly activities by clicking on the corresponding week tab across the top. As we begin a new module, you will see new tabs for those weeks appear as we progress through the semester. But you will only be able to work in the module that is active and not ahead. Before I let you go, I want to first point out to you the Quick Links page. It's back here on the weekly schedule homepage. Click here and you'll find a quick link to most of the class resources you'll need. Can't remember which week the discussion instructions were posted in? Come visit the Quick Links page. If you want to look at all of the module's discussions before picking one, you'll find them all here. And be sure to carefully review the rubric, which shows you exactly how you earn points for these discussions. Same with the book reviews. You're only required to read one of them, but here you'll find the instructions for all of them as well as the rubric. Need help with D2L? Here are some quick tutorials and reference guides. Looking for campus resources? Got 'em! These are the same campus resources listed on the last page of the class syllabus. Not sure how to use APA citations? Want a refresher on what plagiarism is? The links on plagiarism and APA from the online orientation can also be found here for your convenience. And this concludes part 2 of the How to Use the Weekly Schedule tutorials. I hope you've found the information helpful, but as always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask.